Yes, sir. How are your salads?
The solids are fine. It's just that we'd like to move to another table, away from those two gentlemen.
Why, have they been disturbing you?
No. It's just that, well, frankly, they're offensive. Smelling. I mean, they smell bad.
Schwee the People, episode 4. We have a lot of Mike this time, talking about colognes and shit. It's a good time. Also, me, Sean, and Louie. I kind of want more coffee, too. All right, you got your cans back on?
Got my cans back on.
All right, so Mike has a topic for us.
Yes, and it's about smelling good. Yeah, among other things. So, gentlemen, I would like to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think the industry itself now?
I mean, I don't know much about the cologne industry.
Well, I don't even know if you really want to call it the cologne industry. You actually want to call it
probably an industry,
fragrance industry.
Well, if you really want to get technical, it's actually probably the beauty industry, because men are not the only ones that are wanting to smell good. It's women.
It seems like women.
Yeah,
would be
but
more obsessed with.
Go ahead.
So, I noticed that a lot of colognes are very. Oh my God! There's so much in there. He's got his own scent going right now. It's called Mountain Dew.
Banned in every country besides the U.S.
Ode de D&D.
Oh, God. Mountain Dew burns. Oh, God.
You ever have Mountain Dew shoot out of your nose?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
So what the fuck was I going to ask you? Okay, so I noticed that a lot of colognes have a very, very strong scent to them, almost to the point where it can get offensive sometimes if somebody doesn't know how to, especially if somebody doesn't know how to apply it properly and stuff like that. There's something to be said about people who wear cologne every day,
like me.
I mean, like you, but yeah. So that's kind of the question I have. Why do you feel compelled to wear cologne every day? Well, that's not a question that comes from criticism either. It's just a thing like most people, sure, people care about how they smell, right? But
some people don't.
The general hygiene practices usually solve whatever smell problems.
Well, cologne to me is something you put on before a date or something like that.
Well, yeah,
right.
Special occasion.
Yeah.
Grave
digging.
Tortium jelly, actually, for that, because for some reason, one of my old college professors, one of his friends worked at a morgue and literally had to do that, be surrounded by 10 bodies.
Are you talking about when they rub it above their nose or below their nose?
They actually, and even corners when they go into, unfortunately.
I thought that was Vaseline.
Or
that you
Vicks.
put under your.
Well,
not Vaseline.
It's supposed to
Vicks Vapor Rub.
Yeah.
Right. It numbs the senses, like how you would have not a steroid cream, but cortisone cream. So it kind of basically numbs the senses to where you're not constantly breathing that in, because just like anything else that's toxic or is giving off these nasty fumes can have a lot of harmful effects. But the point that you were trying to make, about proper hygiene.
So the question is wearing cologne every day, and I'm going to say versus, but versus the more natural scent you would have just by basic everyday hygiene practices, brushing your teeth every day, showering every day, things I don't do.
You should. To each his own. To each his own is what I say about that.
Hey, don't criticize me for my honesty.
No,
It's a
not going to do
lifestyle.
that.
I don't.
But-
I don't stink, fellas. Do I? You could tell it to me straight. God damn it!
God, no.
My roommate's telling me I should be showering more often.
Well, I think your bedroom could use.
Oh yeah,
you know what
no,
it is?
my
It's
bedroom-
the cigarettes.
My bedroom is
well,
fucking
you
gross.
have it. You turned it into a smoke shack, so I can smell like cigarettes in the hallway.
Yeah,
Well, see, here's the problem when it comes to
my bedroom smells like how I feel on the inside.
Anyways, not putting your depressing
Yeah, don't
feelings
worry
aside.
about it.
It's,
Power through,
we care
Mike.
about you.
Power
We care
through.
about your song. We care about you.
That's a damn lie. Anyway, power through. Power through.
Anyway, power through. I think one of the biggest problems that mostly men have is the problem of proper hygiene, just because of the simple fact.
We have hair.
Well,
all
not
over
only
our
that,
bodies.
but just from the I mean, if you want to get
we have hair. The one bald man said to the other two bald men.
That's why I added all over our bodies. That's where like body odor comes from. It's like the sweat gets on your hair, and then it like dries up, and then that's where the odor comes from.
no,
Yeah, that's why I shave my pubes so I don't smell like bologna all day.
I haven't trimmed my armpits in a while.
Well, if you actually want the scientific term for it, I don't know it exactly, but the reason why odor comes off so bad is because of bacteria.
oh yeah.
So the more you sweat, the more you don't have I don't want to say proper cleaning techniques, because I mean you could shower two or three times a day. You're still not going to be fully clean even after taking a shower. They've done tests on this where they've used dollar store soap versus like your luxury oils and basically your high end stuff that smells very expensive.
So
And
let me.
Well, it also depends on your skin, because you can dry your skin out so much.
I was just going to come to that. Hold on, Sean, because that's one of the biggest problems with colognes is that you could spray cologne on yourself all day long, but if your skin is not properly hydrated, and I'm not just talking about with lotion, also water too, and that's one of the biggest problems I think a lot of people have is that they do not take in enough water. And hence, that's why you have the dry skin problems, the dermatology problems.
And then if you dry
and
out your skin, your
buildup.
skin will start creating more oil to compensate.
Exactly, which can lead to, unfortunately, more smells because it's more bacteria.
Yes. Okay, so let me rephrase the question. In your opinion, who do you think? What type of person should be wearing cologne every day? Like they have all the proper hygiene practices. They shower every day. Maybe they don't even think that they smell bad.
Are you trying to inch towards why Mike does?
Well, that's
it's
part
fine
of it.
if you
That's
are,
part
because-
of it. But like I'm also curious as to know, like in his opinion, because he is like the most knowledgeable about this subject. The person that I know who's the most knowledgeable about this subject. He has done all the cologne research. So like my understanding of cologne from my brief foray into it is that like if you're into cologne, like usually you're only going to use it for special occasions, and usually you're going to have up to like 4 different scents, and it's going to be like more of like a seasonal thing. Like this is like the scent you use for like the fall season. This is the scent you use for like the winter months and stuff like that. And
That's
like,
going beyond even my knowledge.
yeah, but like Mike has done like a lot more like research into the subject. He knows a lot more about cologne than anybody that I've ever met before in my life. So that's why I'm asking this question, because like it does seem like there are people out there that might want to use cologne on a daily basis. To me, that seems kind of expensive to use it, because like some of these colognes get up to what, like $300-$400 a bottle.
You can get up to from your luxury to your niche to your designer fragrances. I mean, you could pay
Like,
anywhere from $100 all the way up to
Like,
four to $5,000.
We're not like talking about like Axe body spray.
No.
We're not talking about like the stuff you get up at like Meyer, we're not talking about like that Adidas cologne that I have in my in my
Adidas.
In your opinion, like what would be some reasons why somebody would want to wear cologne as a daily practice?
Well, from the research and people that I've talked to in the industry, from
You've talked to people in the
yes,
industry?
I've actually talked to perfumers in the industry that actually make their own colognes and the ingredients that they use. It's quite fascinating, like how many actual household ingredients like you would use for making food. Like you have cinnamon, you have tonka bean, you have coffee beans.
You have precious ambergris. Do you know what
Yes.
ambergris is?
And amber is actually a very popular note for colognes.
Amber,
Meg.
yes, but ambergris. Do you know what ambergris is?
Not off the top
It
of
is.
my head.
I believe it's whale bile.
Well,
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah, don't they use that for perfume?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called ambergris.
but back to the
So you're talking about
but
talking about things the people make colognes or perfumes out of things you might even find in your spice cabinet,
100%.
like nutmeg or eye of newt.
What?
I don't know about Eye of Newt, but
Eye
definitely,
of Newt.
definitely.
You have
nutmeg.
Eye of Newt in our cabinet.
Well, let me just put it to you this way: is that
Is it next to the bat wings?
Yes,
The
yes.
powdered bat wings.
Well, I mean, if you want to get technical with it, I mean, perfumery
He would
is
rather-
kind of like being an alchemist, almost in a way.
Yeah.
Well, what did the Romans or they with the way they used to bathe? Wouldn't they just cut up a bunch of flowers and stuff and throw it in the water?
Believe it or not,
This
what
is-
they would use was milk, honey, flowers, and I forgot the specific spice that they used, but it was a pretty well-known plant. Like, because in Italy you have.
Was it an Old Spice?
Well, see, it was. Well, no, it's actually good that you brought up Italy because that's one of the finer places where they actually make cologne, like France, Spain, Italy.
Yeah, I always thought a lot of it was French, right? Just
A lot of it is, but
yeah.
also, I mean,
Well, yeah.
your
All the names are French and they don't shower.
Yeah, well, that's because they
yeah.
have cologne.
Oddly enough,
Yeah.
I always found that a person to want to wear cologne all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So the biggest professions that I've heard about where cologne and perfumes just wanted to smell nice all the time is probably mostly because of the setting. So if you're in an office job, let's say you're a secretary or practicing attorney or
Prostitute.
to an extent possibly.
That
I
can
mean,
be an office job.
it could be. But
Sorry, honey. I
think-
got another
I
late
think-
night at the office.
I think what it is, it's about also pleasing the masses because you're around a lot of people. I was always told that there's three things that people always remember you by. Now, this is just my perspective. I could be totally wrong on this.
Shoes.
But
I
the
always
three
heard that's-
the three things
I always heard it was like your fingernails.
the three things that
It's
the three things that people are always remembered by are their eyes, their smile, and the way that they smell. Because no, just think about this.
well, I
'Cause
fell on 2 out of 3, so I'm fucked.
Because
Oh, yeah.
because when you meet somebody for the first time, you're obvious unless you're blind, you're looking into their eyes.
Yeah, first.
You're talking to them. You're getting to know them. And what are the first things you pick up when you're talking to somebody? Whether they brush their teeth, whether they use mouthwash, or you're gonna get that.
You also get it when you go to a funeral. People will be like,
That-
I always liked the way he smelled.
What?
I always liked his smile and his eyes.
I always liked the way his smile smelled.
Right.
So, but to answer your question, it's one of those things where it could be a confidence booster, but for a lot of people, it could be getting the right attention versus, I don't want to say disgusting attention, but I've had the case where I have literally walked around and smelled like very bad body odor, and I said, "Is that coming from me?
Oh, I have that all the time.
Is that coming from?" It's not a good feeling, even though you know that. Wait, hold on.
When Louis gets it, he's like, "Is that smell coming from me?" The answer is no. It's from my roommate.
No, I've been at like work before where like, you're working your ass off in a factory job and then you might smell something. You're like, oh God, is that me?
Yeah.
But it's like most of the time it never was. Though.
Like I've had days where
but it's like a paranoia.
Like I come home after like a really really rough day, and then like I just like pass out, and then like I wake up the next morning, and then I'm just like I'm like move my head. Oh fuck!
Well, yeah.
God.
I mean, that's letting something ferment. I mean, would you leave? No, I'm being. I'm being serious though. I mean, you leave something out that smells bad, and you don't clean it up. I mean, what do you think it's going to do? I mean, the smell's not going to go away unless you clean it.
Yeah. Well,
so that's just
yeah.
So that's basically the point that I was coming at. One of the main reasons why people wear cologne, perfume as much as they do is because, I mean, let's be honest, unless you have literally no sense of smell, because there are people that do. There are cases where people have no sense of smell and cannot help that.
So I gotta word this next question in a way that doesn't sound like any kind of an attack.
So for the majority of people, I think probably will want to smell pleasant versus smelling.
So my next question is like you work at the same place that I work,
right?
We can both attest to the fact that where we work it reeks.
Yes.
It like reeks of like oil and like stale smoke.
Yes.
It doesn't really matter as much how one smells. Nobody really cares about how anybody smells there because we're all just like working our miserable factory jobs in a miserable place that smells like misery.
We're all in the cesspool together, and we're all smelling the same.
So at that point, like, why even feel self-conscious enough to be compelled to smell extra nice to everybody
in an environment like that?
In an environment like that, where it's mostly going to get overpowered by other stenches anyway.
No, you're 100% correct, and I think that comes down to personal preference and personal choice. Now, when it comes down to, like you just said, being in a workplace where we're at, you could probably cover everybody in cologne and nice smelling fragrances or whatever the case may be. It's still not going to make the difference
with the smell in the air.
With the smell in the air, and I think that's unfortunately one of the biggest problems in the perfume community is that everyone thinks like, oh, this is a club scent, this is this kind of scent, this is this kind of scent, and Sean, you're right, because cologne was, if you really want to get technical with it, was part of only royalty. It was the things that only people could afford. Well, it really was, because
so was eating meat at one point.
This is true.
Delicious meat.
Delicious.
Yeah, you can put all the cologne you want on yourself.
Get me a cologne that smells like salami.
Well, but you could put, you can get all the cologne on yourself that you want.
Eau de summer sausage.
It's not gonna change anything in an Indian nightclub.
in Indian nightclub. I have been trying to steer you towards. I'm just gonna come out and say this. I've been trying to steer you towards the actual topic you wanted to talk about initially that we were talking about off mic,
which is Mike's self-consciousness over his
which is like what you told us. Part of the reason why you wear cologne every day has to do with your self-conscious being self-conscious about your diabetes.
Yes, to an extent, yes.
And I believe that was the topic that we were going to go with, that I have been trying to steer you towards for the past 20 minutes.
All right, fair enough. I apologize, everybody.
No, you're fine.
All right, now when it comes down,
that's why I just came out and said
Sean is right. I mean that's what we did talk about.
I don't want to put you on blast or anything.
It's fine.
I'm just saying
it's fine. Because I did bring it up, and then now I don't want to say dodging the question, but it is, and I'm not embarrassed to say it, because it is a self-conscious thing. Because
beyond that, why is it that
because as a type 1 diabetic, or anyone that has type 1 diabetes, is that you will run into this one way or the other, where people will say to you, why do you smell like alcohol? And I'm not talking about rubbing alcohol. They will literally say, Why does your breath smell like? I almost said feel, sound like. I can't even say it right
Why
now.
does your
smell?
Mike, tell us, why does your breath smell like a liquor store after an earthquake?
Very, very accurate. Thank you, Sean. And my small brain, and I can't
No,
think.
you're fine. You're fine.
So-
you're doing good.
But it's not
So-
necessarily a bad smell.
No, not
But it's-
necessarily,
but-
but it's the kind of smell that like people will definitely like talk about and
Yes.
like question
They'll
you.
just think
Yes.
you're an alcoholic.
Yes,
100%.
And
Now-
like Mike, decidedly not an alcoholic. I've seen him drink a handful of times. I've known Mike.
Orange whip?
Orange whip. So I've known Mike for how long now? It's been
Gotta be
like
at least what?
At least
42 years.
15
Yeah,
years
15.
that we've been hanging around each other.
Right.
We initially met in high school.
Right.
Didn't really start hanging out with each other until about 15 years ago. So
Right.
well over a decade. And
yes.
I have only seen him drink a handful of times. Probably because of the diabetes,
Yes,
mostly
that's
because
mostly.
there's an insane amount of sugar and whatever booze you drink.
Yes, no matter what.
So, yeah. So for somebody to go up to Mike and like question his sobriety based on the way he smells is kind of unreal to me. At least from my perspective, I don't think I've ever noticed the scent of alcohol coming off of you for
Right.
as long as I've known you, even before the Cologne.
Well, isn't that
stuff
something
started.
that'll only happen when you like are what is it? Your blood sugar is too high or low?
It typically happens when the blood sugar is high. Now,
Okay, yeah,
what-
because it's like your body has too much sugar, so it's trying to like burn it off.
it's
or-
trying
Yeah.
it's trying to burn
Or
it
sweat
off,
it out.
and well, it's actually a combination. Little too much to go into, but basically the body is overworking itself, and whenever your body is overworking itself, like you just said, you're going to sweat more, you're going to stress more, you're going to pump more blood. And unfortunately, what comes with that are the side effects of the body heating up. You're going to start to smell. But in my case, that's what a lot of people get. They get that alcohol, sometimes rubbing alcohol, but most of the time it's like, dude,
Tequila?
did you just take take a shot of tequila, whiskey? Like, what the hell? And I would be
It
at
starts
work,
turning
and I
into a
would
Stone
be
Cold Steve Austin promo.
Yeah.
Drink a beer.
What?
Drink another beer.
What?
Drink another beer.
What?
Drink a fourth beer.
No, that would be the worst. Though I had a friend who was like he would drink tons of beer, and then he would pass out at my house.
Are you
And
talking about Donnie?
No, this was
Oh
another
no,
guy.
Donnie would drink wine and then pass out.
Wine
right?
and vodka, but beer is the worst smell when you wake up the next day.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
100%.
If you've been getting fucked up on beer all night,
Yeah,
because it's like a yeast.
Wheat,
yeah, it's like
wheat,
fucking
cornstarch,
It's like
yeah.
like stale bread.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, that was one of the major things that I always had a problem with is scent that you know that you're clean, you know that you're doing what you have to do, but yet like where the hell is this coming from?
But is this really that you have a problem with it, or that you're so self-conscious about it that you're preparing for it? So hence the reason
Oh yeah.
you wear cologne.
Like I
every
mean,
day.
like that makes more sense though because like he at his job where we work, he operates heavy machinery, and like you've been known to have spikes in sugar
Yes.
while working, and then
100%.
you immediately get off of the forklift, and then you go sit down and you take insulin and you try to
Yes.
try to level out your levels.
Yes.
But the concern would be like if he's having a sugar spike and that's causing his breath to smell a certain way, then somebody might
Make the assumption.
and well, yeah, and then of course, like the way that because I don't know if anybody out there has seen somebody have a sugar spike, a diabetic have a sugar spike
or low blood sugar.
or low blood sugar, they are out of it.
Yeah. Well.
And it can be construed as symptoms of drunkenness. So if
Yeah.
his
Yes.
breath smells a certain way and he's acting a certain way, even though he is, and he wears his diabetes on his sleeve. Everybody who's met Mike knows right off the bat he has.
I literally have it tattooed on my arm.
He literally has a big. How big would you say that? There's a 7-inch tattoo.
Yeah.
That says type 1 diabetic on it.
Yes.
And so anybody who knows him knows obviously that he is a type 1 diabetic, but if they're not putting those things together and the wrong person happens to see him or smell him in that state, then there's the worry that he might get in trouble for something that he did not do. So like that makes more sense why he would wear cologne in an attempt to mask it, but like that does seem kind of paranoia.
Not gonna lie, you're 100% right. And that's not criticism. I mean, that's just being honest. Not saying you're criticizing me, but
there is a interestingly enough, there is a I don't know if you've heard of this disease. It's an extremely rare disease where like there are people out there that where like food will actually get fermented in their gut.
Yes.
And it'll actually create alcohol.
Yes.
And it will make them drunk without them even realizing it. So their own gut is making them drunk.
It has something. I don't know. It's
called gut drunk syndrome.
No. It's an actual name for it.
Yeah, look it up if you can. But yeah, it's stuff that the body can't, like, it can't break it down properly, and it starts to replicate the smell of someone that would be intoxicated or drunk.
Gut drunk fever
syndrome.
Again, it's very rare.
How do you argue that? Like, what if you actually are just drinking on the job, and then you say, no, I got this disease, like.
Oh, okay.
Again, that would probably come down to having a sobriety test.
Save me, Google AI. Alcohol gut syndrome, also known as autobrewery syndrome or gut fermentation syndrome, is a rare condition that causes the body to produce alcohol. It occurs when fungi and bacteria in the gastrointestinal tract ferment carbohydrates that have been consumed.
Because you had toast.
Because you had toast for breakfast, and like you have no idea what's going on, and you're like, yeah, breathalyze me. I haven't had anything to drink. I've been sober for 20-something years, and then you get breathalyzed, and they're like, well, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Do they have something to stop it?
What?
Probably a food diet.
Yeah, I mean, like,
or it would have to be like regulating the bacteria or whatever in your guts, I guess.
I'm assuming
like fecal transplant.
Yeah, I would imagine like
medication.
Like there would have to be like some form of like what is it when they have to like kind of repopulate the bacteria in your guts. Yeah. And then other than that, it's like, hey, don't eat any carbs for a while.
Right. It's like
it's just going to ferment in your gut.
Take more of this vitamin, take more of this.
But like in the
could
meantime,
you die from alcohol poisoning then? If you
that is a good question.
I imagine so. But
unless there's only so much like yeast or bacteria out there.
Like I think like the bigger problem is people's lives just being ruined because they have a disease that they can't control.
Yeah, I wonder how many people like in that had jail time or had their licenses taken away.
Yeah,
and that was coming to the point that I was we were talking about off mic was one of my
Mike off mic.
Yeah.
Mike
off mic.
Welcome to Mike off mic at midnight. Overnight, Mike off mic.
So one of my mom's exes was also type 1 diabetic like myself, and he was an epileptic. So, long story short,
he was called a double whammy.
Yeah, a very big double whammy. So, the story goes, I actually have a copy of this newspaper that my mom actually found. I believe she still has it. Anyways, it was big news. It was right over here by us, actually. It was at a local 7-Eleven, and he was trying to make his way up there because his blood sugar was low, and he wanted to, grab something to eat so he can bring his blood sugar back up. Well, if anyone has ever been around type 1 diabetics or even type 2 diabetics, this is what they would call hypoglycemia. You basically walk and act like you are drunk, and he's bumbling and stumbling,
and
trying
confused.
Very confused. I swear to God, there have been cases. I'll use myself as an example. I took too much insulin one time, went to bed because unfortunately, just a long story short, while a person is at rest, your body usually uses that time for healing. Well, whenever you're healing, everything's going on in your system to where it allows you to heal up, rest. And your body's kind of working on overtime even though you're at rest. Well, for diabetics, our blood sugar still rises even while we're sleeping. So I can go to bed and my blood sugar could be in a normal range anywhere between 80 and 140. And I'm like, okay, cool. I can go to bed, no problems. And then I wake up and my blood sugar will be in the high 200s, high 300s. It's like, well, what the hell? I didn't wake up and eat, anything sweet. I didn't drink anything sweet. Why the hell is this happening? What ended up happening to him was that, like I said, he was walking up there trying to get something to eat, and he was walking like a drunk zombie. That's basically what you kind of look like. And he's trying to communicate to these cops, and they start beating the shit out of him. They think he's drunk and disorderly.
Oh, that's classic police.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he ended up having a lawsuit, but he was trying to explain to these, to the officers, because unfortunately, I'm sure the training has probably gotten better with police officers now. Now you're basically a police officer, a medic, and part-time doctor when you're on a job like that. Yeah, he ended up getting I believe a concussion, got 2 teeth knocked out. And mind you, this guy was 6'8", 300 and probably 305, and big guy, strong guy too. And yeah, unfortunately, that's one of the biggest problems with that, is that when the body goes through that chemical reaction and the body's trying to fix itself, and you're trying to do what you need to do, unfortunately, there's side effects that come along with that.
Well, my friend Richard's a type 1 diabetic, and he said that when his blood sugar
don't use his real name on the podcast.
When he said his blood sugar is low, he said it almost feels good, like he's high, but he'll see like shadow people.
Yes.
And like just
Not
so confused,
like
it looked like people running at him or like walking around.
Yeah.
And but he says he almost wishes he could, like, the feeling though, he said, is like a really weird, like, high almost.
It is.
And then Stacy's hypoglycemic, and she didn't tell me this when we went to the Columbus Pride for me to do the story on when I was writing for that one website.
Oh yeah.
And so we're popping Adderall and drinking booze, and then she goes, "Oh, I've got Valium in my pocket." I'm like, "Ooh, bring it out!" And it was pouring rain, so her Valium was all melted in her pockets.
Oh no!
But she was like stumbling around and acting really weird, and then she couldn't figure out, her like motor skills to just put her hand in her pocket and pull the things out were like just gone.
Oh God!
And she was like getting like frustrated and acting goofy on it. Like, and then she finally tells me she's hypoglycemic. I'm like, why didn't you say that? Like, Adderall kills your appetite. So now you need to eat, but you haven't been hungry because you took a bunch of Adderall with me.
Yeah.
And
right.
so we had to go into like a store and get calamari and a restaurant or whatever. And
Yeah, unfortunately, having diabetes, I mean, I've always said this, is that if there's one good thing about diabetes, is that it does force you to make healthier decisions. And the bad
Not
side,
in my experience.
well, you also got yours more under control.
Richard told me that he tried the keto diet, which is hard to stick to.
The keto diet is actually the worst diet for diabetics.
He told me he didn't even have to use insulin for a whole week while he was on it.
Because you're not taking in any carbs.
So you need the carbs.
100%.
I tried telling him that about eating pasta, and he's like, "No, it's too many carbs."
No, you need carbs.
Carbs.
You need carbs to survive.
Well, yeah.
Okay, let me just ask you guys this, and whoever's listening would probably know the answer to this too. What do you need for energy, food-wise?
Cocaine. Well,
Hence why I said food. I mean, cocaine is a plant. I grant
sprinkle
you that.
Sprinkle it on whatever you. Yeah, he
A little bit of
like
lasagna
salt.
here and there. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
just he's got like a salt
I'm
shaker that's
Italian,
filled with
so
cocaine.
I'm very familiar with carbs.
Okay,
He's
so-
also Italian, so he's very familiar with cocaine.
Right.
So, I mean, we all work out, and what the main thing that you need besides protein are carbohydrates, because you're not going to you need energy in order to work out. You need energy to move. You need something to break down in order for you to perform tasks.
Hey, anybody who's passed out during a workout, or straight up went unconscious during a workout, raise their hand. What? No?
No, you
Me?
can't see it, but
Me?
yeah.
Me?
Sean,
I'm the only one?
Sean was the only one.
And that was because you didn't eat enough carbs?
That's because he had a bowl of cereal, and
It's because I didn't. Yeah, I didn't eat enough before I went and worked out.
Yeah.
I'll get the shakes, like, sometimes, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he scared the shit out of me because I've never seen him.
How long
I've never
was he
seen
out?
him like that.
I
he was
scared the
out
shit out of
at least 15 minutes.
There was
And
no
nobody,
way.
like-
There was no way it was 15 minutes.
See, he doesn't remember that, but see,
I think maybe 5
I
minutes
know.
at most.
See, I
Was he
remember.
like, did he have like a death rattle, like a snore, or?
It didn't come to that, but I will say this. I mean, the workout that we were doing was like pretty brutal.
It was pretty intense, especially for a fat guy who hadn't worked out really in like 20 years.
Yeah. So they throw him into both of us into a
Like
hit.
high intensity cardio.
Yeah, hit. Yeah, that's what I was
So
gonna
it's
say.
like
Hit.
so it's like we're
intensity
doing like
training.
mountain climbers, and we're doing like planks and stuff.
Yes.
And like I cannot handle it because like I have a diminished lung capacity as it is, because like I've been a smoker for so long, and like morbidly obese and all that stuff. So it's like I'm doing it, but like should I be doing it? The answer is no. And I was just like we go to do like the last workout, which was like the kettlebell side bends.
It was
and
I believe we went kettlebell, side bends, planks, and then mountain climbers because that's when you passed out. Was when you did the mountain climbers.
No. We did the mountain climbers first, and like I was already like I was already starting to go at that point. Then we did planks, and I only did like one, and then we went and did the side bends. And I only only did like part of a set there because I was already like wobbling.
Now see
and I went and I sat down.
Oh, you sat down by the bottom.
I
went
and got water. Then I came back and then I sat down because at that point I knew I was going to pass out.
Yeah, I remember you passed out holding on to the cube and we had to help you.
No,
down.
I was like sitting.
Yeah, you were leaning up against it.
First I sat down on the cube and I was like leaning forward. And then when I realized that I was going to pass out, I sat down in front of the cube, thinking that like, well, if I pass out, then I'll just like lean up against the cube. That's not what happened. Like I just went out, and then like I came to, and like I was on like my knees were like still like in the same place.
Yeah.
But like I just like was on the ground. And like
your
shoving like Gatorade in my hands,
Gatorade,
protein shake in my hands,
a lot of sugar.
and it's like oh, what the fuck just happened? Like, how long was I out for? Like I was like all confused and shit.
Yeah, I'll take that back. He was probably down for 15 minutes, but he was probably you were probably at least out for like three to 5 minutes.
Yeah. I was probably sitting there for 15 minutes. I was probably sitting there for like 10 minutes before I passed out.
Right.
Did anyone do anything like check his pulse? Or?
Oh yeah, 100%. Our trainer, yeah, he was on it.
Well, they had our trainer and the manager there, because it's like, oh well, this fat guy just fucking passed out. Like that's a liability issue.
Right.
Like,
it's
it's not
like
something we want to
defibrillator.
advertise. It's like, this guy came to us because he really wants to get in shape, and now we have to call an ambulance for him. Like,
it didn't come to that point because I kind of recognized it, because that's the one thing about being a diabetic for so long. Like, Sean can tell you, or anyone that knows me, is that when I start to get low blood sugar, all the coloring goes away. Like no blood in my face, you don't look like you normally do.
The best part about me passing out at the gym though was after I woke up, I got in my car and I drove to work, and I worked a 10-hour shift. So
my hat's off to you on that.
God bless America.
At least you didn't shit your pants.
But
you know how often that happens with runners?
Oh, shitting
all
their
the
pants.
time.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
all
that's
the time.
because like after a certain point, like you just don't have any control over anything that goes. Like it's all numb and like fucked up, and like the amount of exhaustion.
It has something to do with like how much electrolytes they burn or something.
Oh
like,
yeah.
There was like a video of a woman running, and they're filming her, and she's like, "Can you please not film my backside because I shit myself?"
Yeah.
No, it's not unheard of, because just a quick note on that. Summer 2 years ago, I was actually helping one of our neighbors move, and this was on one of those hot days in July in Michigan. And it's kind of unpredictable when it comes to the weather here. But anyways, I started cramping up because we were lifting pretty heavy stuff. Big, huge desks, bed frame, refrigerators, just basically kind of almost moving a whole house, basically.
Well, yeah, I used to move furniture. They would call it falling out when you like suddenly
And
pass out. Like
that didn't happen to me though. But see,
Pass out moving furniture.
but
you set something down and then it hits you. You start feeling faint.
yes, and that's basically kind of what happened to me, except I have, especially with the diabetes and everything, I have to keep myself hydrated. I have to stop and take breaks and get stuff in my system. Well, the problem that I have personally versus, everyone's different, but I've been a sweater ever since I was a baby. Just always warm.
He thinks he's a sweater now. He thinks he's a piece of clothing. We need to check your blood sugar. You think you're a piece of clothing.
Yeah, need to check my mind.
So you think you're a hoodie or like a cabernet?
Or a cardigan.
I like cardigan. Cardigan's nice.
I have a couple.
Nice. Yeah, back to the point at hand about colognes and.
Is that what we were talking about?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Like I said, I'm very passionate about.
Talk
this
about
topic.
Ode de Toilette.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Do you guys have any questions when it comes to the different kinds of colognes and
The only thing I know
versions?
but what I've learned is to never spray it on your clothing, because like there's something about like cologne on your clothes that like it gets like stale or something.
Yeah, but depends on like.
Well, I guess the quality.
So like if you're
That's
going
what it comes
out
down
and
to.
you decide to take a shower before you go out, you have to leave some time between applying your cologne and getting dressed.
Oh, yeah, I was
because
gonna
like
say, you let it
otherwise
air
like
out.
the shit's gonna get all over your clothes anyway.
Yeah.
There was another video on YouTube from a perfumer in India. It was either India or the Middle East, and he was explaining to these people that were coming up and saying, what's the difference between this, and this? And she brings him the cheap version of this cologne. Then she brings him one of the more expensive ones. He's like, why is this one so much more cheaper than this one? And he had to go into great detail about it. I'll spare you all the details, but basically, like whenever you go to any cologne store or something like that, they're going to have, most of the time, 3 versions. They're going to have eau de toilette, parfum, and eau de parfum. The difference between the 3 is the oil content that's in it. So your lower end eau de toilette, you might get 1 to 3 hours projection for that. So you spray it on. It's probably most of the time it's going to fade pretty quickly because it's the more cheaper version. And obviously, the higher you go up, and they even have it to where they have this new one that I got. It's called Extract. That is one of your higher end ones where 1 to 2 sprays, and that's all you need. You don't need to shower yourself, because it's the biggest mistake I always see people doing when it comes to applying any fragrance. Is that, if I spray more on me, it's going to last longer, or if I spray here, it's going to last longer.
No, you're just
Like,
gonna smell like a prostitute.
And where
Yeah.
should you spray? Should you ever spray it on the genitals or anus?
Yeah.
oddly enough, that is actually a very
Now, see, as a gay
very
man,
good question.
I don't think I'd like that. I wouldn't want to be licking some guy's balls and just getting a mouthful of chemical.
Yeah, because that question gets asked a lot by people.
See, if I feel this way, then I know women would feel this way, but you're going to want a natural musk when it comes to the genitals or anus. or pits.
Why do you have that look on your face?
When it comes to the sexual aspect of it, there is something to say about the natural. I'm not talking about the ripe chili and vinegar, but the
Chili and vinegar.
the clean human musk of the genitals or anus.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Well, like me and
it's
Mike don't have to
fascinating.
worry about our piss smelling bad because we're diabetics and therefore
Yeah, we have soap for
according
piss.
to according to Patrice O'Neill, our piss
tastes like
supposed-
birthday cake,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's supposed to taste like birthday cake.
I was gonna say palm olive, but
Palm olive.
No,
that's a floor.
Palmolive.
That's a floor
Palmolive is-
cleaner.
No, Palmolive is
palm
like
olive
a-
is soap, is dish soap and
Oh,
hand soap.
oh.
So
okay.
it comes a variety.
So it
of
smells like
different-
lavender because that's what.
Well, apparently they got apple, lemon.
Oh yeah, I
and
was gonna
all this
say, yeah, Palmolive's got plenty of different.
orange.
But what
But-
Mike's getting at is if you're diabetic and when you piss, it comes out sudsy.
Yeah.
Yes,
It looks like
especially
soap.
especially when the
Sweet
blood
and
sugar,
soapy.
especially when the blood sugar is high.
When I take too much Adderall and I take a piss, I'll notice it's like foamy and weird looking. And I found out it's cum because apparently Adderall stimulates the prostate and it'll make you like leak cum
Oh, nice.
if you take too much of it. So you go and take a cummy piss, and it'll be all like you can kind of see the swirls and everything in it.
So what is it?
It's
What,
actually
just
really
like,
kind of scary when you think about it. I mean, because. I mean, think about it. I mean, people
So
that
what, like,
people that do have legitimate problems, going to the bathroom or something like that, and are taking a medication where it does something like that, that could really fuck up your urethra really bad. I mean, I've never had kidney stones or anything like that, but for the people that I have talked to that have had to deal with that,
Well, you know
I
what?
mean,
You know what can happen with your piss? You have ammonia in your piss.
Yeah.
And if you don't clear out your urethra, the ammonia dries up and turns into crystals inside your urethra,
it doesn't surprise me.
and that could literally feel like it's like
Like
it
piss and
hurts.
razor blades, yeah.
Yeah.
Not to change the subject, but that was one of the problems that one of my mom's friends had with her cat, because she would constantly feed her cat all these fish delicacies, whether it was tuna or salmon or just the canned cat food that was just nothing but fish. And this poor cat had to have like 4 or 5 surgeries on his kidneys because, like you just said,
Like
you're
it was too
developing
rich.
kidney crystals because there was too much mercury in it.
Oh yeah.
And mercury is not good in high doses, especially for
so you're
food.
saying I should not eat as much tuna as I
Probably not. I've heard
That's
that
probably
eating
the
tuna
worst.
daily is like that you will get mercury poisoning.
I mean, the only other fish that I would think that would actually probably be what's the Russian delicacy, caviar? What sturgeon.
Is that the?
I think it might be smelt. Yeah. I ended up finding out that people that serve caviar as a delicacy all the time like that actually, like you just said, end up developing very fast mercury poisoning because that's all you're eating is eggs that are from
I mean,
a
how
fish.
much of a rich asshole are you that you're just eating caviar every day? Which I've looked up. There's like cans of caviar that go for like $10,000.
Oh, of course.
And I actually thought, like, man, what if you could steal? Like,
And, have you ever had caviar?
I've had caviar one time.
I had fish eggs. I don't know if they would count as caviar.
I mean, it's same difference. It's fucking gross.
Yeah.
Like, it is like the saltiest thing I have ever put in my mouth.
Well, but that's why you put it on a cracker.
I
Typically,
know.
yeah.
Even so, it's still the saltiest fucking thing I've ever put in my mouth.
I think I'd like it.
Well, you would.
Like you weren't even on the same continent.
I wonder if that's from like the whale. That can't be, right?
I
They have
doubt
live
it.
births.
Yeah, they're
They don't
mammals.
have eggs. Yeah.
Hey guys, what mammals lay eggs?
Rats.
Oh,
But
yeah.
but the last thing on the
I gotta
subject,
go collect the more rat eggs.
just a final thought on the whole cologne industry and stuff like that. I know you guys are probably done. I did have one question for you guys about
Okay.
this topic. Depending on the price range for some of these colognes and how you guys brought up earlier, how often or how, what's the way I could put this, like an all-season kind of cologne where you can wear it throughout the year, be okay with it, what they would call signature scent in the perfume community.
Yeah. What is the average size?
Your average size usually goes from 50 milliliters to 125 milliliters. Take your basic Axe body spray, just a regular can, nothing crazy. That's about 1.7 fluid ounces, so equivalent to what you would get in something like that.
Well, for
That's your average
something like
size.
that, I guess I could pay $500. Like a bottle that's like that big and maybe that wide.
Yes.
Yeah, $500. Because I rarely ever wear cologne. So if I spent $500 on cologne, that would literally be like enough cologne for the entire year for me.
100%. Which one was that?
The Versace Aero.
Oh, the Versace Eros.
Eros Flame.
Eros Flame.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty popular fragrance too.
Yeah. I want to say that was around $250.
Okay.
I want to. Oh God, is that my fall scent? Like I don't even remember.
Well, because
That's how rarely I wear cologne. Like I wear cologne
wouldn't-
like
I
if I'm
wouldn't.
going to like a wedding or something. Like if I was like going out, then
Right.
yeah, I would wear cologne. But like I don't go out.
I wouldn't even. I would skip past the seasons, me personally, just to simplify it. So I would get an all year round one. In that case, then $500 to me would be like the maximum amount, like where you got something.
I mean,
good.
I could probably wear like the Burberry Hero year round.
Okay, because for people that aren't in the fragrance community and stuff like that, like the safest one usually to go with is usually a summer fragrance, more like a fresh, citrusy. I don't want to say spicy, but I'll just break it down like this. Probably the easiest way to explain a fragrance is that you have your top notes, you have your base notes, and then you have your floral notes. As soon as you spray whatever you have, you're going to get a rush of whatever the first ingredient is.
Okay.
So your top note. So I'll just use the Versace Eros Flame. Like the top note for that is like a cinnamon.
Do you want me to grab it so he knows what we're talking about?
Yeah, that's fine if you want to.
I want to
You
get
go
up
and
and get
keep
something to drink
explaining it
anyway.
while he gets it.
So originally, they call it the opening, and the opening is when it's really, really fresh. You know, obviously you just sprayed it on.
How long does the top note last for?
It can vary. It can vary from 5 to 10 minutes. For some top notes, like you spray it initially, you spray it for like maybe you might,
tell how much of this I've used so far.
Well, this is the bottle size I'm talking about too. I don't know how many.
let me see it actually.
That would be like the size I would expect to get.
Yeah, this is 100 milliliters. So
Okay.
it's 1 point. I want to say 7 ounces. I think. Oh, 2.5. That's your typical. That's what most companies use as their biggest bottles for a lot of their fragrances.
See, this is one I'm familiar with because of other guys. This must be like popular, or at least.
I like it.
I'm not saying I don't like. I'm just saying I'm familiar. That's one, or at least variations of that scent is what I'm very familiar
Now, see,
with.
because I have this one in my collection, I could pick up some of the notes automatically because I'm so used to it. 9 times out of 10, whenever you buy any kind of fragrance, they're always gonna have the notes on it. Obviously, the ingredients, which 9 times out of 10 is usually like alcohol, benzopene, and all these ones I really can't pronounce without looking at the box. And
So wait, what's good? How good is the top note then? If it only lasts for the 5-10, is
like I said, it varies because the top note could stay throughout the whole fragrance, and sometimes for other fragrances it'll be gone in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
And that's where you get your dry down effect. So when it's on your skin, that freshness when you first spray it on doesn't always stay. That's why they call it the dry down. So as the day goes on, you'll start to pick up the different notes. You'll start to it'll start to smell a little bit different. Like you'll still have a little bit of the top notes in there,
Okay,
but your
but it's
base
fading.
but your base notes is what you're going to be smelling most of the time.
Okay. And then as it fades completely, then that's when you get into your floral. Is that what you called it?
Okay, this is just a really quick description of one of these fragrances that I was talking about. Okay, correction. You have your top notes, your middle notes, and then your dry down. First, when you spray it on, I'm assuming the top notes for the one that you just sprayed on, Sean, is cinnamon, probably sandalwood, and maybe geranium. Like I said, I don't have the box in front of me, so I don't know. But there's one right here from another house called, let's see, the top notes, petitgrain, lavender, clove, then your middle notes, cardamom, geranium, Madagascar, mimosa abs. Most of the stuff we really haven't heard of. But then you have patchouli, which is actually a very, very popular note in a lot of fragrances, a lot of body washes.
It's fine as a note, but like patchouli as a scent in and of itself is kind of gross.
Yeah, a lot of people actually don't like the patchouli by itself.
My mom
better
loved
when it's
patchouli,
mixed.
and I've never forgiven her for that.
Yeah, my sister used to wear it during her like early '90s goth rock or whatever.
It's a hippie scent.
Yeah.
It's like, what if we just wanted to smell like we didn't shower?
Were you with me that one time when I asked that girl, like, I was in a bar or something, and I said, "Are you wearing patchouli?" And then she had to go into this weird. I bought this from a voodoo person in New Orleans.
Was that at the Phoenix? I feel like that was at the Phoenix.
Yeah, it might have been, or it might have been at Little Lorraine's. But yeah, she went into this whole like.
Was that the fucking that New Year's? You, me, and Jerry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must have been New Year's.
The one chick who was like trying to bang the fucking live entertainment or whatever the fuck that guy's name was.
Yeah, the dweeb, yeah.
And then she ended up going with him, and then we ended up like hanging out with the other chick for the rest of the night.
Yeah, but it was so irritating though, because it's like it smells like patchouli, but she had to go into this weird white woman pseudo racist explanation like, no, this isn't patchouli. I got this from a genuine voodoo Negro in New Orleans, and it's like, come on, shut up.
Oh wow.
Like you have to make it sound fancier.
White woman shit.
I mean, I'm all for
where they're these people are mystical. Whether it's in Native Americans or
it's like
Creoles.
they ripped you off, and quite frankly, you deserved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, here's the biggest problem that I have with a lot of fragrances, unfortunately, is that one of the biggest names out there, I'm sure you guys probably all heard of it, is Creed. It's one of the biggest ones out there. The biggest problem that a lot of the people in the fragrance community is that you'll have what literally not cologne, but clones, CLONES, which they will copy from a lot of these places and pass it off as their product. And that's the problem that I had. That's one of the biggest problems that I have. So
basically, the theft of intellectual
Well, it's not
property
theft.
in the scent community.
No. It's actually not theft, because even though they're not using the same ingredients, they're using similar ingredients. It's
But
basically
the fact
you know how
is
it came
they're
to.
trying to make it smell the same.
It's like you can buy genuine MDMA or you could buy the Chinese knockoff BK MDMA.
Burger King.
And you wouldn't go, and you probably can't quote. I mean, you could probably find it. Stuff that it'll look exactly like the original product, down to every little detail.
Is it like a cheap company though? Like they copy a fragrance?
Oh yeah,
but then the scent just wears off, or it's
like garbage.
It's a trick.
It's basically a trick. Now some people will say, and this is the biggest problem, and one of the biggest questions that I always get asked is like, well, it says you're supposed to get 6 to 8 hours of projection off this stuff, and this stuff is gone in an hour. And this comes back to the whole taking care of your hygiene and making sure that your skin is properly taken care of. Because what does alcohol always do? Rubbing alcohol, not get drunk alcohol, but what does alcohol do to your skin?
It dries it out.
It dries it out. So essentially, when your skin dries out, it's going to soak up any hydration that you're going to give it.
Well, not like that, but it seems like if you have too much alcohol in a cologne or a perfume, it's also going to, because it's going to, what do you call it?
Evaporate.
So it seems like it could force a lot of the ingredients or the fragrance to evaporate as well. So.
And that's exactly what happens, and that's one of the biggest problems. Everyone gets pissed off. Oh, I just spent $400, $500, $600, whatever on this fragrance, and I'm like, for as much as I paid, I should get better quality out of this stuff. Well, people don't take into consideration is that, if you don't take care of your skin, the body's going to soak all that up to keep itself hydrated. So one of the best things that I do is that I'll get a non-scented lotion, put it on the areas that I'm going to spray on.
Okay, so it's like a coating almost.
Essentially, yes. It's think of it as a protective coating for like your car when you get your car, waxed and water repellent. It keeps that shine. Just so essentially that
luster.
There you go. So again, it comes down to the point is that how much are you willing to spend? What you're, like what Sean said, what you're going to be using it for this occasion for, or if you just want to smell pleasant all the time. I say to each his own. If you want to smell like a perfumery, go ahead and do it. If you don't care and you just want to do the bare minimum like deodorant and maybe a little bit of a body spray, go for that too, whatever makes you feel comfortable. But the biggest question I always get asked about this is that what is a great all year round scent that I can go with? I can recommend a couple of brands, but it all depends on what you like. Not what other people like smelling on you, but what you like. Because if it's not pleasant to you, why would you want to wear it?
But what if it is pleasant to you, but it's shit to everyone else?
Well, again, that's the biggest problem is because there'll be some people that will say, like, oh, my God, that smells amazing. Where did you get that? And then you have your other people, like, get the hell away from me. Like, Sean said, it's causing a headache.
Well, there are people, like, I work with this disgusting, morbidly obese 55-year-old Dungeons and Dragons woman.
No. Oh.
And,
okay. I thought you were talking about me, and I was going to say we don't work together.
Yeah, no.
This
and
isn't a job yet.
She would freak out
Yet.
and bitch about my pasta because of the garlic smell. Like she couldn't handle the smell because she was like a Scotch Irish, and it's like, but she would claim though that she eats haggis, and it's like, no, you don't. You're lying.
Yeah.
Like, but
Yeah.
she would really freak out about my garlic, my pasta aglio. And it's just like, bitch, if you can't handle garlic, like I don't want you to be around me.
It's like, go back to your craft singles. You don't.
Yeah,
hit.
you Scottish whore.
Like that's like Hicks stuff, though. That's like,
Yeah.
like
But I
I
mean,
can't stand any kind of spice
The point
or
is, though,
flavor in my food.
there might be people out there that are just cannot handle certain smells, like
No, 100%.
like lavender or garlic or something you cook. Like some people are like grossed out by this, like cabbage, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, let me ask you guys this: what do you think is probably the most pleasant smelling ingredient that probably almost everybody would like, regardless
Pizza.
of health condition? No. I'm talking about like smell
So he
wise.
takes pizza and makes it into a cologne scent.
Think of like a sweet smell.
I mean, doesn't everyone like the smell of rain?
Well, like the smell of
Cherry
ozone
blossoms
and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, like I don't think anybody's like offended
gasoline.
by. What are you, my mom? Like
Everyone likes the smell of gasoline.
No. Like that's like so like my mom was like into weird like gross smells like gasoline
Or like
and
a 2-cycle
patchouli
engine.
and like what was
You know what I
it?
mean? Like
Skunk.
exhaust
Yeah,
from
the
a
exhaust from
2-cycle. Yeah, I
yeah.
always love the smell
Yeah.
of that.
Like my mom was into like patchouli and gasoline and skunk for some reason.
Oh, I wouldn't. That's
It's like what the
yeah,
fuck?
I'm about to say,
So like it's just like that's what I kind of associate it with now. It's like I don't think everybody likes gasoline, but like it's like I think of like the least offensive smells. So it's like probably like citrus and stuff like that.
Apple.
Yeah, like basic fruity smells that aren't overpowering.
Yeah.
well, I'm glad you guys didn't say sugar because sugar's a pretty wide, pretty plain, but sugar is also used for a lot of sweetness and a lot of taste. Think about it like this. Almost
like
every
fruity smells are along the same lines.
No,
though.
true.
That's why people like them. It's
No,
Well,
because
true.
like
they're
a
kinda
hand
sugary.
soap, like when you have that fruity smell, it's purposely toned down. It's like just enough. I always notice.
Exactly. So, when it comes down to, usually pleasant smells, I mean, everyone always knows when you're making cookies. Everyone knows when you're making cake. When you're making anything that has I don't want to say bitter, but I guess you could call it bitter whenever someone makes chocolate.
Oh yeah.
It's very, very pleasant. Even though,
Oh, bread.
bread too.
Baking bread.
Yeah.
So
Even if
you
it's
make
shit bread.
cinnamon or cinnamon on bread. That's
Yeah.
very, very popular. Or raisins in bread, but
I would say cinnamon is probably one of the nicer scents.
It is.
Say,
Yeah.
having like your house. Or,
Well, yeah. Well, now my house smells like
It's my tea.
It's
yeah,
no,
because your
it-
tea.
it-
like
but
every
you-
time I go to the fridge, I'm like, oh, it's so cinnamony over
but
here.
here's my point: is that you bought that because it's a pleasant smell. Mostly, almost everybody is gonna like, a pleasant smell like that. Now, when it comes down to what you want to wear on your skin, I'd say always you want to go with something fresh. So, like citrusy, lemon, possibly even like Madagascar orange or something that, again, coming down to the mass appealing thing, like the biggest.
But I always thought that like the fruity smells of. I can understand having a blend of that in a cologne, but for a man, you don't want to smell fruity, do you?
Do you know what one of the biggest makeup brands and cologne brands is out there? It's actually a very old brand. Starts with a C.
Brute.
So close, but yet so far. No, it's
Old Spice. That starts with a C, right?
Chanel.
You can't have.
Oh,
a,
yeah,
you
yeah.
can't. You can't have a ship without the C. There's a ship on the bottom.
Chanel. What else do they make though? They're clothing, right?
They make clothing. They got
The
perfumes. They got
Ecuadorian,
makeup. They got
The Ecuadorian guy that was on the reality TV show that I dated. He was a Chanel model. Like he would have to stand there at Somerset Mall.
Hashtag humble brag.
Well, but like I don't know what he was selling, but like he was basically one of the good-looking people that they would put on display to sell Chanel products.
so.
And you're one of the good-looking people that they put on display to sell merchandise from the video game
Red Bull
Harvester.
harnesses. Yeah.
But one of the most popular ones is Chanel Allure Sport, and very fresh, smells like you just got out of the shower. Very, very easy to wear, and I think that's the one problem that a lot of people have with a lot of colognes and perfumes and fragrances is that how wearable is it? And I'm not just talking about just spraying it on you. I'm like, can anybody wear this, kid?
Well, I know. The most obnoxious smell is like the church ladies that stunk like just a jug of flowers. Like it was that.
Yeah.
It's not that it's an unpleasant smell, but for some reason it was so potent on
No,
those old
you
ladies.
felt like you were standing next to a bouquet of flowers,
yeah.
and it's pleasant, but it's not something.
But
that,
it also doesn't smell like it reminds you of an inanimate object rather than a person.
And believe it or not, that's actually quite common, because what do we associate smells with? Good times, bad times, foods that we like, experiences that we've
or
had,
a potted plant,
or a
bouquet of flowers,
even if
or
you,
something. A vase.
Or the
Like-
trash in my bedroom.
Right.
like if you think about it just for a second, like a good memory that you've ever had, and just by some chance, you smelled a real pleasant fragrance during that time, it's going to bring you back to that time when you smelled that. And it's like, okay, now the memory served me right, and now, like, hey, I can remember this.
You also have the weird conundrum of like, I like the smell of White Castles, but I don't want to smell like White Castle.
100%.
That's how I've lived most of my life, not wanting to smell like White Castle.
And again, that comes
But
down
wanting
to
to
the,
live next door to one.
And again, but that's the natural evolution of the human species. Is that the reason why we're able to have all these different kinds of things when it comes to colognes and perfumes is that people experimented with them. And I'm not just talking about just smelling it. I mean, actually taking these plants and getting hallucinations and stuff like that. Not saying you're going to get that from a cologne, but it's just one of those things where it was trial and error, and say, hey, what goes good with this, what goes good with that. It was basically an alchemy class.
I was watching a movie recently on Tubi. I can't remember what movie it was, but the guy was like, it was like a guy who was like, oh, a girl's knocking on my door, and he's like, hold on 1 second, and he grabs cologne and he's like sprinkling it on himself, and then he like panics, like he looks around for a quick second, and then he pours some in his mouth and starts swishing it around.
God.
And like my first thought, like they're trying to be funny, but I'm like, if your breath stunk like cologne, I would think like you're dying, like something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
that would be the most unnatural. That's the other thing. Does the scent has to come across as somehow natural, even though it's an obvious scent that you've sprayed on yourself.
100%.
It can't be
Yeah.
irregular or unnatural. Like so if you have the smell of cologne on your breath, that would not be attractive.
No, it would
you
not
would
be
be like,
attractive,
well,
no.
something's
Well, like
wrong.
it's
100%.
a scent that's supposed to mix with your like natural musk,
Yes.
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 and like it'd basically be the equivalent of you having breath that smells like body odor.
Well, not,
Like
not,
if
not
your
to get
breath
too gross.
smelled
or-
like your armpit, that would mean there's something deathly wrong with
Right.
you.
Right.
Now, not to be gross about this, come to find out, in like the whole Roman dynasty era, where they had, all these different ingredients and all this stuff coming in from other countries because of the expansion of the country and everything like that. They were bringing in all these different ingredients and experimenting with them, to see where what these could be used for, whether it could be used for medicine, what it could be used for cleaning out wounds, what it could be used for, what you were just saying, for breath on some people. And come to find out, you guys might find this gross, but I guess this is actually 100% true. how were the Romans able to have great teeth when they would dig up these skeletons of these Roman citizens? And come to find out,
They had chemicals in the water that turned the friggin' frogs gay.
well,
You could
I
chew,
don't
you
know.
could chew
So
on, they used to chew on mint leaves. I know that. Like
they used
Yeah.
to chew on mint leaves, and it was goat's milk, and believe it or not, urine.
I've heard of that.
Do you want to know why? Because there was ammonia
Yeah,
in
and that
your
would kill the
urine,
bacteria.
and they would not only kill the bacteria, but it would also give this white shining that you would get now in modern
yeah.
day,
So are you
modern day
telling me-
toothpaste.
It was like
That
a natural whitener.
You're telling me that I need to start drinking my own piss?
Well, you don't have to drink it. You just got to swish it around.
No,
your
I
mouth.
heard no. I heard drink
Is it
your own
necess-
piss.
I
Is it
go all
That's
the
what
way.
I heard. I heard
If
drink
you're
your
gonna
own
commit,
piss.
you commit.
Yeah, everything is 110%.
Yeah, no,
I'm drinking my own piss now.
that's kind of like I'll take
I'm gonna-
like
I'm gonna do it
hydrogen
right now.
peroxide and squirt it in my mouth and swish it around before I brush my teeth, just to kind of like whiten things up and kill some of the bacteria.
Well, like I said, what's in piss is pneumonia. And what does pneumonia do? They use it in bleach to clean white clothes and turn dirty
not
white
bleach.
socks. Huh?
Not in bleach. You don't mix bleach and ammonia, but
No,
it's a
that's how you-
similar.
Right.
What do you get when you mix bleach and ammonia? What's that? Mustard gas?
Yeah, or a type of.
Yeah.
But no, it's like the same. It's like basically a yeah.
An equivalent, but a safe way back then in order to do something like that.
Yeah, I wonder if it would be like a regular piss, or would it be a morning piss, the worst piss?
Believe it or not, what they would do is that they would actually, I know it sounds gross, but they would actually piss on clothing, and then basically rub it on their teeth.
Okay, yeah.
Like they wouldn't gargle this stuff like like
Well, the
mouthwash.
rubbing on the teeth probably was just it helped because it was actually like brushing.
Yes.
I know, but you ever see like their toilets when they have their shit houses? They had a
Yes.
hole cut out in the front.
Yep.
And you would put a rag on a stick and you would put it in the running water in front of the toilets, and then you would just stick put the stick through the hole that while you're sitting.
Modern
and
day
just
dude
scrub your
wipes.
ass with like that.
Yeah, modern day doob wipes.
Yeah.
Also, don't use dude wipes. They say that they're flushable, but they're really not.
No, they're not.
Keep one brown eye open tonight. Itching for a snippet, want a preview. Better give us more than just a high.